Welcome to 7-1, everybody but the top six. This is your number one produced podcast in Buffalo that talks about the British Premier League. Other 14 teams in the league. I'm here joined by Brandon Bundschuh and Zach Moranto. We're going to be meeting up occasionally here in Buffalo, talking about, the number one league in the world. And we're going to be discussing today our predictions for this upcoming season. Season starts this weekend, guys.
Can't wait.
I'm pumped.
A couple days.
We're all pumped right now.
Yeah.
And we're going to try and throw out, just like, some other folks out there, we're going to throw our predictions into the mix. We're going to talk about our top four, our relegated teams. And I think we might have some interesting selections because I already made a big pick when, I said one of my relegated teams. We'll dive into it a little more.
I'll say so.
But, yeah, I mean, if we want to start it off hot, we could start talking about the top. What do we want to dive into first? Because top four is always the big conversation. But we're a podcast about the other 14. Do we want to start talking about the relegated teams?
I think it's only right.
I think it's good to work our way up the table.
Yeah, because it's a good way to work our way up. I mean, I'll start off first just because I said it already. But
we're starting at number 20.
This is not number 20, but just maybe like I would say 17th. No, what is it? 18th.
18th? Okay.
Yeah, because they're a team that's been fighting a little bit, mid-table, upper mid-table, but Bournemouth has done away with so many of their defenders and their defense, and they've just made a lot of different transfers, and I don't see the replacements coming in. I think Bournemouth might just have a serious collapse this year. I don't know.
My problem with it is I just think their attack's too good. I like Semenyo a lot. I like Ouattara. I like Evan Nielsen, Justin Kluivert. Like, they have some good attackers, and I just think their attack they'll score too many goals to go down. They signed Petrovic from Chelsea, which I think they made an improvement on Kepa this season too. He's going to face a lot more shots. I think that's where Kepa's weak point is as goalkeeper, is his shot stopping. So I think bringing in a better shot stopper was a good move for them. So I think they did enough, and they have enough where they'll just survive. I think they'll be a little bit farther up the table, like probably about 14th or so. I just think there's some worse teams, and they're going to score too many goals this season to go down.
Yeah, I mean, losing a majority of that back line for any club at any level, it's gonna be rough. They're still bringing in Premier League players, right? Like, they're still at the level where they're going to compete. The manager, Areola, he could be, argued as one of the better managers in the league. I think tactically, I think they're still strong. They're definitely not as strong. 18th, I feel, is a little rough. 18th,
I don't know, man. I just see them going down. Like, you made a fair point with their attack. Evan Nielsen, he was definitely one of the players that was like on a radar for me before he came to the league, and as soon as he went there, I was like, all right, that's a solid attacker that's joining the league right now. So, I mean, it's just one of those structural things. When you lose a defense, if you can't stop the goals, that's a huge problem. And we had
doesn't matter how many you're putting in, really.
Yeah,
and I can see them being in the mix. I just think compared to some of the other teams that are going to be in that mix, I just think they have too much.
100% lower than last year. 100%.
Yeah.
I agree.
They won't do nearly as well. I don't think they'll give teams as big of problems. I think for like the big six, they'll be an easier team to beat than previous years.
Well,
but I do think that they'll survive. I think they'll be okay.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'm watching out for them.
Hey, stick with your guns. Stick with it.
My 19th place is going to Wolves because Wolves are just due for that collapse. They're due to just fall back down. Like, they were one of those teams for a while that was holding their own in the league, but last year I think were maybe second or third to the amount of draws that Arsenal had too. So it's just one of those things. They're going to fall soon.
Yeah, they've been certainly flirting with relegation the last few years, and their coaching change last year, I think, is what ended up saving them overall. Obviously, for them, losing Cunha is a huge deal. And, Strand Larson had a good season, but I don't know if he has that same season without Cunha there as well. They lost Aït-Nouri to Man City, who defensively, leaves the back post open sometimes, but going forward, always been brilliant. Great for build-up play, which I think is why Pep Guardiola wanted to sign him. But I just don't think they replaced those two. And they brought in John Arias from Fluminense, who had a great Club World Cup, but I can't see it.
Yeah.
I just don't see them replacing the goals that they lost.
No, I mean, those two names, losing them, Cunha and Aït-Nouri, massive. But I just can't see them relying on Strand Larson as your number 9 for an entire season. And I think he popped in 14 goals or something last year. It's a decent number, double digits, right? It's a shout, but I don't know, man. A full year as him as the 9 and really nothing going behind him. I can see it too.
Yeah.
I can see it too.
I think creativity is the one word I would use that they're lacking.
Yeah.
I think the creativity in that team is not there. I think
Just look at the kit.
Yeah.
That's lack of creativity all you need right there.
like,
jeez.
they have the workhorses. They have some decent defenders. Nobody that I think like screams they're too good to get relegated.
Yeah.
But I just don't know if they're gonna have enough this year to stay up.
Yeah. Well, Wolves going down, and then
Who you got
going
last?
right back down is going to be Burnley.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, I just don't have the faith that they're gonna, stay back up this year. So there's nothing too in depth on Burnley with it, but like I just don't see it happening.
I like the Burnley take. I also have them in my spoiler. I have them in my bottom 3 as well.
All right.
I think defensively they're going to make it difficult sometimes. For the Big Six, I don't know, just because I don't think they're going to win many midfield battles or threaten very much. I think that's really where it comes down to. I think they have a defensive structure that could keep it competitive for them, but in terms of surviving, I don't think there's enough goals in that team to keep them up.
Yeah.
No, I just think the jump is it's just too big. The gap is too big. It's getting even bigger every single year. I mean, last year you hear everything about the numbers, 16 goals against, 30 clean sheets or something stupid like that. But the jump from championship to the Prem is just too wide. And I mean, they brought in, what was it, Kyle Walker-Peters, Kyle Walker, some experience back there.
Yeah.
It's just too much. And like you said, they're not going to be scoring much goals either. So
Where did you have them in your bottom 3? Are
I have
they like
them-
number 20?
I have them 19th.
19th? Okay.
so-
All right.
okay,
Yeah, I got a team I think is going to do worse than.
it better not be Leeds. That's all I got to say.
Oh, you're not gonna like it when I tell you that it's Leeds.
Unbelievable.
Leeds, really?
Unbelievable.
I don't believe in Daniel Farker whatsoever. He is what I would classify as the relegation merchant. He went down straight back down with Norwich. I believe it was twice. I want to say, but he's been up a few times and he always pretty much goes straight back down. I don't think he'll be around in January. I think he'll be done by January and he'll be on to his next team that gets promoted just to go straight back down. He's one of those managers I just think that's in that endless cycle of promotion and relegation. I just don't see Leeds staying up.
All right. I mean, I think with Leeds, it's one of those teams that's got the club history and the fan base that's going to be able to rally them in some of those bigger games this season if they have a chance. I think they still got Brendan Aronson, right? Is that who he's playing for
Yes,
right
sir.
now? They
Yes,
got
sir.
Grealish.
He's one of my,
not Grealish. What's his name? No, Harrison's on Everton. He's been there for a bit. No,
He's back.
He's back at Leeds?
He got booed a little bit, but he's back.
All right. Okay. I mean, they got some, of those fringe players that can find their form and reignite something with them. So I don't know. Leeds could probably do something this year.
Ellen Road is a fortress. If you've watched a little bit of their preseason, if any, I mean, they're putting up performances against United and AC Milan, and I get it's preseason, I get their friendlies, but I just think the team, the squad as a whole, they look fit, they look competitive, they look aggressive, and I think in a league like the Prem, coming up from the championship, I think competing and being in each and every single game, it matters. And I think you get points and you can squeak out a draw here and there. You can squeak out 3 points here and there. And they're not in my bottom 3. I think they're close, but I think they compete. And I think they got enough. I think they got enough to stay.
Yeah, I mean, if they do survive, I would be surprised. I do think looking at the players, like they have Dan James, who's a workhorse, Brendan Aronson, who hasn't really done much in the Prem, but also a workhorse. Like they have some workhorses in that team.
They brought in a couple other guys too. It's
Yeah.
Stock or Strock or something.
Yeah, I just don't know
Dog.
top to bottom, looking at that team, the coach that they have, if it's enough.
Yeah.
And I think they're set up really well to succeed in the championship. I just don't know, like, if the players that they have, like Pascal Struick, like
Succeed is one word. They absolutely dominated.
yeah,
the
they
championship.
dominated this year. I just don't know if they have the players that, like, when I compare them team to team, coach to coach, I just don't know if they have what it's going to take to stay up.
So who do you got for 18th? then?
18th, I had Wolves.
Wolves. All right.
So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't. like they escaped last year, and their new coaches have them playing better. I just looking at them compared to other teams and what they lost and what other teams have picked up. I just don't think they've done enough in this transfer window to keep them up.
Yeah. We definitely made our points about Wolves there. So
Yeah.
Well, I think they fall into your bottom three.
We'll start at 18 then, just
Wow.
to stick with it. We'll start at 18, go down because I got Wolves at 18.
Yeah.
Same points have been made across the board. Really, I just don't think there's enough. Relying on Strand Larson as the 9 again. I
They're
just
outta
don't think
here.
we can do it. 19. I'm surprised neither of you agree, but I got Brentford. I got Brentford going down.
Okay. They've definitely had. Let's go ahead.
No, yeah, I just Embuemo, Thomas Frank, Norgard. It's
Probably Wissa too.
man.
Yeah,
I
we'll
think
see.
sooner
Yeah.
rather than later with that one. Yeah, and it's just players aside, Thomas Frank has 100% proven himself as just an elite manager. Elite. And losing that, right? You can bring in more players. There's going to be business. It's going to happen. But losing somebody like that behind the scenes, it's just, I don't see it.
I mean,
don't see it.
you look at teams like that have suffered from something like that for so long, like United. They had such stability with their manager and such, how do you replace Alex Ferguson? We all right?
Yeah, we're fine.
All right. How do you replace such a key figure like that? And they've been suffering forever.
Yeah.
And exactly as you're saying, Thomas Frank and with Norgard, he dropped his name especially. He was a player that was playing every game, they're saying, in their midfield and was really holding it down, and his absence was very noticeable.
Yeah.
And one thing that I've noticed in the Arsenal preseason, anytime that guy has played, Norgard is controlling that
gaps, plugging
midfield.
the gaps.
He is great.
Yeah.
So that's a great player that they lost in him. And like you're saying, if they lose Wissa too, it's just that's a good pick where Brentford could possibly go down.
If they go down, I'm not surprised at all.
Yeah.
I just looking at them and compared to Wolves, just how they're run as a club, I just think systemically it seems like Brentford has a game plan, and I don't think they would have hired their coach that they hired to replace Thomas Frank if they didn't truly believe this guy. This is one of the clubs that they really focus on analytics. They're like a Brighton where they focus on analytics and their scouting department is very good. They find guys you don't really know who they are, but they're good players. And I just think that this club, the way they've been ran since they've returned to the Premier League, I think they have a plan in mind. And I just think whatever their plan is going to keep them afloat. Just in the next summer, they're going to make some changes that are needed to keep them up and get them back into that mid-table area again.
I think the plan right now is just pure vibes. I think
Running
that's,
off the vibes.
I think
Oh,
that's
yeah,
what
man.
that's what they're rolling with.
Well,
And
Who do they got in their first game this weekend? It was
Brentford, we
yeah.
got Nottingham Forest.
Nottingham Forest. So that's a
tough
good
one.
test right
It's a
there.
tough one.
Some of our other 14, right?
Yeah.
Those are two mid-table, sort of upper mid-table teams that compete. So their season can go either way with either of those teams. And with Nottingham Forest especially right now, because they're, they're fighting for that Europa League spot now. They overtook Crystal Palace in European competition. So we'll see what goes on with those guys. You still have your last pick, though. Your who's number 20? Who's just the bottom of the barrel?
Burnley. See
Burnley.
You later. See you later. Send them back.
Yeah.
Send them back. Not much to talk about there.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, without Sean Deitch as their coach, how are they going to hold that fortress and just park that bus? It's you don't see that magic being replicated.
No.
And defensively last year in the championship, unbelievable. I think it was the best defensive championship season of all time. I think they only conceded 16 or 17 goals. But once again, completely different level.
Yeah.
When you're playing
Gaps too big. The
world class
gaps are too big.
attackers or just fantastic attackers on a week to week basis.
Right.
And their defense is great. I get it. I think they're gonna, like I said, I think they're gonna be a tough team to beat.
Yeah.
I don't think they're gonna be a team that gets rolled over very often. They're gonna make it difficult for teams, but I just think push comes to shove. I just don't know where their goals are coming from.
Mm-hmm.
They just signed Armando Broja for $20 million, which
That didn't happen.
thank you.
They lost Brownhill, who had
Yeah.
18 goals, and that's not Broja. That's not.
No.
He's not putting.
And I mean, I think Broja's best season was with Southampton when he had 6. He never really showed any promise with us before he got injured. So I just don't know. $20 million for him, for us, is a steal in my opinion. So I just don't see him doing what needs to be done to keep him up.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Well, we it's fun where we both agreed, where we all agreed with some of those picks, and I love the all the other picks there too. But the top four is going to be a little interesting. We can run through now too.
Yeah.
You want to kick that off, and then I'll
Well, I
see
got
what we
Leeds
got.
winning the league.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, do we want to start at 1 or 4?
Let's
do we
let's
wanna
say
do-
all four. Like we'll run it up to the top. So we'll say from 4 to 1,
Okay.
and then do a brief little talk through of what we feel with our top fours. You know,
Do we want to talk about European place as well with Europa League, Conference League, or do we want to just focus on?
we'll
top
do
four?
top 4 Champions League stuff because
Right.
again that's where a lot of these teams are going to be trying to fight for.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, at 4, I went with City. 3, I got your boys Chelsea. 2, Arsenal, falling short, unfortunately. And I got Liverpool winning the league. I got
Back to
Liverpool
back,
winning.
all right.
Back to back.
Yeah.
Back to back. With Liverpool, I just think, man, I mean, that team is just some team. I think 50, 60 years from now, we're talking about this Liverpool squad. I know the Community Shield. I watched it too.
Yeah.
They're hiccups. I mean, we're Americans talking about the English Premier League. Let's talk about the Miami Heat, right? You
Right.
can go back. You look at Chris Bosh, Dwayne Wade, LeBron. It takes time. You get these super teams in every single one of the sports. It's going to take time. There's going to be hiccups. I just think once they get rolling, that's a scary fucking train to be rolling.
Yeah.
And yeah, I got them going back to back. I don't really see anybody. It's going to be a competition, but I do not see anybody catching Liverpool at the very end of it.
I don't know about you, but I have the same 4 teams, so maybe we should all go through it. We should both go through ours too, and then we can talk about where we
Ooh.
feel
All right.
about each team.
Yeah, I do have the same 4 as well. So
Oh,
where do
there
you
you go.
place them? Where are you placing them?
So I've thought a lot about this top 4 since the last episode. Since we said we were going to do this,
yeah.
I've been really thinking about this because this is, in terms of the quality of the top 4, this might be the closest we've seen from
In a
across the
while.
board.
No doubt.
In a while.
Since I can't remember a time where there was 4 teams that looked this good going into a season,
Yeah.
and could be this competitive with each other.
And possibly getting better.
Yeah,
Yep.
and these teams aren't even done in the transfer window yet. I don't think any of them are done. I think they're all still going to dip in and sign 1 or 2 more players each.
Yep.
But maybe it's bias, you know. I had
it.
to.
Unbelievable.
I had to.
No.
Maybe it's a little bit bias of just what I've
Wrap it up.
seen.
Wrap it up.
So 4th, I got Arsenal. 3rd, I have Man City. I thought about doing it, but 2nd, I have Chelsea, and
Wow.
1st, I have Liverpool.
Wow. Okay.
We haven't competed for the title since we won it in 2017. I think this is the year that we really pushed Liverpool to the end. I just don't think we're going to have the experience enough to do it yet.
for sure.
And I think I'm looking at this team. I'm looking at some of the players we might bring in. If we bring in a Xavi Simmons, if we bring in another center back with Levi Cole being out for the season, which is a huge blow, especially where he was in his career. And this coming off the season and the tournament he just had.
Yeah.
This is, in my opinion, this is the best I think we've looked as a team, as a unit, tactically, since we won the title in 2017. And I just don't know if we're going to have enough to beat Liverpool. I think our midfield is pretty much as good as you're going to get in Europe this season. I think as a 1-2 punch, João Pedro and Delap are going to score some goals. I think with some of the wingers you brought in, and Estevao, who looks brilliant, especially for an 18-year-old, he's going to free up Palmer. I think Pedro Neto's looking better and better. We have arguably one of the best fullback duos in the world. It just comes down to that center back pair and our goalkeeper, which is why I just think we'll come up a little bit short this year.
All right.
But I think we have everything it takes this season to at least give it a go and give it a push.
No, it's a fair argument to it because, again, you look at Chelsea in the late 2000s, early 2010s, and they were like arguably always going to be fighting and had a chance. And so they definitely lost some of that flair, and they're going to be, one to watch out for. I thought it was going to be sometime maybe last season, but this season you can't exclude them from this top 4 right now. I do have them in my top 4. They placed 3rd. 4th, I have as a drop off. This is a crazy top 4, but you know what? Again, like you just said, a little bias in here, but
Do it.
we're doing it, man. Liverpool's going to 4th.
Oh, my God.
Liverpool's dropping all the way down to 4th.
Oh my God.
Chelsea in third. We got City coming in second. And this is the year, fellas. This is the year Arsenal does it. And I got to just sit on the soapbox for a second.
But come on.
I got to sit on the soap. I got to do it. North London. Arsenal as a team has been building up for the past couple seasons. Whatever the weather. We have been aching for this title win, and we've been building this squad up. And right now, we've made the key signings to do all of that with these streets. No, I mean, this transfer window for Arsenal is the best that we've had in a long time. We've signed a defender, midfielders, a striker. That's just unheard of for the team right now. And with Gyökeres last season, if we can just get a fraction of those numbers that he put up, I think we can do something. And it's just one of those seasons where we've got enough new blood in the team and integration that can push us over that edge because they want it. This is one of those seasons. It's just going to be like, I always say it's one of those things where they should be showing that confidence on the pitch where they do that Aaron Rodgers like title celebration thing, you show that you want it. And each game you go out and prove it. I don't know. Hopefully it's the year. And I put Liverpool down at fourth just because of, again, going based off of some player form and what we saw in the Community Shield. They got some, things that they need to work on still. Like Van Dijk is just like, I don't know what's going on with him, but he's hit and miss. He's like losing his form or something, or it's just getting to his head. And, I mean, they're like you're saying, they are still building, like making some moves. Like they want to get what was his name, Mark Gahey from Crystal Palace. Again, that would be a great signing. And a little foreshadowing there. He makes my top 11 for if we're picking players and people like that in the league. Like he's a great center back, and if they just fix that piece right there and have someone to rotate at least with Van Dijk, that's the key. But with rotation, that's just what Arsenal worked on this year. So again, hopefully that's it, and we can make it happen, but we'll see one game at a time.
I will say that was my biggest issue putting Liverpool first in my list was if you look at that team, the midfield depth, perfectly fine. They got everything they could possibly need in their midfield. Their fullback depth, fine. Robertson and Connor Bradley is your backup fullbacks this season, going to be perfectly fine. The center backs, obviously a little thin at the moment with only having Van Dijk, Joe Gomez, and Konate, who could leave this summer if they don't want to let him go on a free. But they're already looking at Gahey and another center back from Argentina that could fill in. So I think depth in center back spot's what they really need right now. And then you get to the forwards and you're kind of looking at the depth, and I'm like, if they lose a guy or two, especially in that period when Salah's at AFCON this season, they might struggle in that period because if they don't, which they might go out and they might get Isak still. And if they get Isak, then write the title off. I think they're going to have too much for any team. But right now I think they're starting front threes: Gakpo, Ekitike, and Salah with Wurtzen behind. I don't they lost Darwin. Obviously, rest in peace, Diego Jota, but he's not on the team anymore, unfortunately. And Rio Engamoa, former Chelsea Academy player, 16 years old, looks great, but when you're in a title challenge, you can't necessarily rely on a 16-year-old to be the first guy off the bench. So I just don't know from a depth perception. If they get some injuries, they could have some issues, but they need to sign some players, I think, before the window closes.
Yeah, I think with Liverpool, we'll start there. I think Arnie Slot already came out and said that Frimpong is going to slide in for Mo Salah for those 6 games. And I think he has all the ability in the world. I'm a German. I mean, my last name is Bunchu. So, I live, breathe. I was born on the Bundesliga. So I've seen plenty of Leverkusen. And Frimpong in that spot. They're losing Salah for sure. But the drop-off is not as big as I think a lot of people would think when you first hear that. And then, like you said, Connor Bradley filling back into that outside back. They're going to be okay. Relying on a 16-year-old, I think, is rough. I think that's a tough kind of label. That might just be the high school coach coming out and me, the club coach, coming out. If he's showing signs, I mean, he's there for a reason.
And I will say, if you watch him in preseason, fantastic. As a Chelsea fan, losing him to Liverpool, I'm like,
gotta hurt.
It's
gotta
not a fun sight to see.
Yeah.
I just don't know if this year is the year where he's ready. But I think this kid in a few years is going to be a real problem.
I mean, it's a conversation for another show. I mean, we can go with him. We can go Max Dowman. I mean, we can go. There's a bunch of a bunch of young talent coming up. But I think that Liverpool team, anybody, you get injuries, you're going to struggle.
Oh, yeah.
That Liverpool team, I think they're just too prepped for that number one spot. Arsenal, I know we got to go on real quick. I want you to show the people who's on the back of your shirt right now, just so they don't laugh. Okay, I'm doing this for you.
I gotta, I just had to do it. I had to.
Fair enough. It's a beautiful shirt. It's a beautiful shirt.
Oh, yeah.
With Arsenal, I think they are really close. I think Kai Havertz has, that's a dude right now. That's a dude. He looks really good. He looks really in form, ready
That
to go.
sprint for that goal was.
Can't stand him.
I
can't
think,
stand him.
I know what he did to you. I know what he did to you.
Can't
But I
stand
think Gyökeres starts, and I think that depth of having Havertz and knowing he's that number 2 at any time could come in as the 9, sliding him in possibly as kind of that false 9, maybe even a 10. I think they dabble in that. Zubamendi and Norgard, I think, like we were talking about before, filling those gaps. I mean, they've added the right pieces to make that leap, to make that run. They've added the right pieces, and it's going to be the best. I think it's going to be the best competition for that top 4.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
This is going to be a lot of these teams that we just mentioned have a lot to play for this year. City had a season last year where they weren't at their best, and they want to come back and prove something. Chelsea right now too, like just off a big summer. Liverpool off a big year last year. So these top 4 that we just mentioned, all 4 of them, really going to be in the mix. But then you also got to consider the outliers of like United and Tottenham, both trying to reclaim that glory and find their way back in. So we'll see what happens in that top 6. Real quick, let's go over who we got. Maybe top scorer. If you guys want to drop some names, like throw them out in the mix. If you got any, like I can.
Well, it's boring, but I just think it will be Haaland again this year.
Okay.
Solid with the AFCON. He's going to miss a few games, especially if Egypt make a run. So, and Marmoush, he's going to be at AFCON too, most likely. So with those two, not that I think Marmoush is in the race necessarily. I just think it will be Haaland. But the big question, I guess, is if Isak does go to Liverpool, do the goals get split? Does he just score more? I think that's going to be the biggest what if this season. I don't think, as much as I love the way João Pedro's been playing, I don't think he'll keep up this goal per game form all season long. It's just not a jump that you'll see ever. He'll probably getting tested every game if he does that. But I just think it'll be Haaland.
All right.
I got João Pedro as my goal.
Whoa,
really?
I love
João
it.
Pedro.
I love it.
João Pedro, I know you would. Watching the Community Shield in Liverpool, I think they're heavy on the left-hand side. Arne Slot's going to change some things around. I think I even said aloud in 62nd, 63rd minute, I was like, I don't think Salah's touched the ball since the second half began. It was very evident. It was very clear. Again, he's going to make some switches. I guarantee it. But I don't know, man. When you're doing, Golden Boot race, he's not going to put up the numbers. He's getting older. They're changing things around. More around him. They just won the league, and now we're saying more around him, which is scary. But no, I think Haaland, of course, he'll be up there. I think João Pedro, he stand out past couple years. Maybe not past couple years, but I think the last year definitely. And then just the form he's in right now. As a number 9, I grew up as a number 9. It's all about confidence, and you come into a new season flying like that. Sky's the limit. Sky's the limit. He's got all the talent in the world. I think he's Brazil's number 9 going into next summer. I got him as a Golden Boot winner.
Well, you talk about confidence and you talk about things you need.
Don't do it.
I have to.
Do it.
Don't do it.
Do it.
Oh,
Go ahead.
No.
Victor Gyökeres is going to be
God.
the Golden Boot winner in the Premier League this season. Because you want to know why? He forced the move. He's confident that he knows he can come to this league and make an instant impact. He's confident that he can come in
He told you
and
that?
be that player. Oh, yeah. He told me that in all the interviews.
Called him personally.
Yeah. You watched all those interviews with Arsenal, and he's like, yep, I'm here to do it. I'm here to do the job. But again, all I need to keep saying is just half of the numbers he put up. And that's for every appearance, so that's going across all the leagues. You have the 56 and 52 appearances, but for what you can put out in the league and what we have to offer him for creativity, at least too, with Odegaard, like who's again, not on his best form, but Zubamendi, Saka, just all these guys trying to figure out how to like integrate with him and help him out and like service him. That one of our last preseason games, I was trying to watch his play style and how he's fitting into the team right now. He's still trying to find his touches, but again, that's all you need. Just that one touch that gets the ball in the back of the net. And if he could do it in preseason and keep that going, it could be like one of those Haaland things, where first season in, new league, and some of these new teams that can't figure him out. I could see some of these lower table teams, him popping out these, hat trick game kind of thing. We'll see. Yeah. I'm just,
What I will say,
it's not far fetched. I don't think it's far fetched at all.
What I will say is, I would love both these players to be in the Golden Boot race. Not as much Gyökeres, but it would make it fun to not have Haaland just winning it again. I know he didn't win it last year. I know Salah won it, but it'd be fun to watch a different striker pip Haaland to it. João Pedro, I think the biggest issue is he's not going to get penalties, which. He is a great penalty taker. He showed that at Brighton.
They might fight on the field again.
They might.
Oh,
they
man.
might.
Yeah, right.
But I do. Obviously, Palmer is our penalty taker. I think Palmer will remain our penalty taker. So I just think he's going to lose a couple goals there. And Gyökeres, I'm not one of those people on Twitter that's, it's a Portuguese league striker. He's not going to come and do well. I think he's going to do very well. I think he'll be about the 18 to 22 goal mark this season. I just don't think he'll have as many to beat a guy like Haaland yet. Right. Not in the first year in the league. But it could, if it happened, I would be surprised, but I don't think it's like I could see it, but not. I don't think it's very likely that he'll beat Haaland just yet. But
no, I agree with what you guys are saying. I think I'm sitting here listening to you. Watch it be like Strand Larson as we're
right.
As we're talking
if it's
shit,
Strand Larson,
it's gonna be someone like that. That's just how it goes.
Exactly. All right, these are solid picks. I love that. That was a nice little discussion we had on all that. What we got coming up next, we're going to talk about some of our predictions for not top 11, but we each made an 11 for some of the teams that are outside the top 6 and where we would pick and throw some of them into our own kind of team in the league.
Correct.
So we'll dive into that in just a second. But before we do, be sure to tune in to the Emergathon 24-hour podcast live on YouTube, August 23rd and 24th. Featuring over 30 different podcasts and content creators, this event will be streaming to accept donations and raise money for the Niagara Gospel Mission to help celebrate their 10th year in Niagara Falls. To watch the stream, search for Emerge Media Creators on YouTube and tune in starting at noon on August 23rd. You can catch us on the 24th from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. watching some games in the league. I believe it was Everton and Crystal Palace playing. So
there we go.
Yeah, we'll be coming here that Sunday to watch some of those games, and it'll be our first live stream as well. So we'll give that a shot too. Maybe we'll be doing that throughout the run of this show. But again, tune into the Emergathon 24-hour podcast live on YouTube, August 23rd and 24th. Nice little ad read right there, fellas. Hopefully we get a little couple more in the future. This next one's brought to you by...
Well done. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned, everybody. All right. So now we'll dive into what we think is our best 11 out of all the other teams in the league. Okay, we got a lot of great players out there that are just floating around, and if they did find their way into one of these top 6, you could say, or something, this could be one of those teams that pushes on for a title run.
With the stipulation, 2 players max per club. We can't exceed 2 players per club.
Yeah. You can't just pick all of like the Newcastle defense or like midfield and throw them in.
Which if you did that, there's the door.
Exactly. Yeah.
4-4-2, correct? Is the formation
4-4-2 is the formation. Yeah. Okay. I that's what I went with here.
I cheated a little bit. I went with the 4-2-3-1 just because I feel like I couldn't leave one of these 2 players out that's in my team.
Okay. All right. If you want, well then let us hear it then. What would you have to do to make this formation work?
So in goal, I went with Emi Martinez. I think he's one of the best goalies in the world. I mean, he has his moments where he looks a little bit off, but I think he's one of the best there.
Before you move on, is he also your goalie?
He's not, but he was my first. He was my first honorable mention.
Yeah, he's my keeper.
Yeah.
Just like exactly the same. He's a great pick.
My honorable mention here was Pickford. Doesn't always have the best games, but I was just looking at who I could fit in based on who else I had in the team, and he was my other option. Left back, I went with the American, Mr. Anthony Robinson.
Yeah.
This probably would have been him or Kirkhez if Kirkhez didn't go to Liverpool last season, but in the transfer window. But Robinson, fantastic. I'm honestly surprised he didn't get a move this year. But fantastic season, but fantastic
Good
player.
for him on staying, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
Good for him
Yeah.
on staying.
My center backs, I went with Murillo from Nottingham Forest and Mark Gahey, who I think is probably the defender that'll, out of these four that I have, that's gonna probably won't be here by the end of the transfer window.
Right.
I'm kind of hoping Chelsea goes in for him, especially losing Levi Colwell. But we'll see what happens with that. I'm probably gonna be Liverpool, unfortunately. And then right back, I went with Daniel Munoz from Crystal Palace as well. This guy,
Let's show.
he might be
Yeah.
the most underrated player in the Premier League right now. This guy can do everything. He can go forward. He defends. He's physical. He's a good passer. He's good on the ball. Like, he can score. Like, this guy is unbelievable. And I will talk about this guy all season long, any day of the week. Because if you watch this guy, I think he can play for any team in the world, and he would not look out of place.
Dude doesn't sweat either.
No.
A workhorse.
Yeah, absolute workhorse. He bombs up and down that right-hand side the entire time for Palace. It's unbelievable. My CDMs, I went with Granit Xhaka and Bruno Guimaraes from Newcastle.
Okay.
Xhaka, I mean, the last season or two at Arsenal, he started playing very well. Elevated his game even further level with Bayer Leverkusen the last 2 years, and now he's back with Sunderland. And I think he could be a huge reason why I think we all had Sunderland staying up, and I think he's a huge reason why I think Sunderland could stay up this season.
It's very true.
And Bruno G, just one of just your all around just fantastic midfielder. Another one that could probably play in any side in the world and not look out of place.
Oh, yeah.
I'm surprised he's stayed at Newcastle this long, to be honest, but good for him for sticking with them. On the right hand side, I went with Jared Bowen, which this position changed about 3 times for me because I kept picking somebody and I'm like, oh no, I need to get somebody else in. I had Elanga as my honorable mention on this side now. I already had my Newcastle players picked at this point. My Cam, because I cheated a little bit. I went with Gibbs White. It's between him and Eze, but I wanted to get Gahey and Munoz in, so he made way. And then on the left, kind of cheating a little bit because he's more of a right-handed sided player, but with Morgan Rogers. And then up front, I don't know how far along. He's probably not even going to play for Newcastle ever again, but I went with Alexander Isak. Because technically he's still on the rosters, so I had to give him the spot while he's still there technically, but probably the best player on this list in my team. But, he probably won't be there much longer, so...
No, I mean, I did the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, if they're currently there, I picked them.
Yeah. A little bit of a cop-out because, how much longer is he going to be there for? But, hey, he's the best.
We get it. You cheated. We get it.
No, that's a solid pick. Like, Jared Bowen's, I like that mention of him in there because we talked about that, at one point where could he be that player that steps up for West Ham? And is this going to be a big year for him with them? And
They're going to need it to
mention.
be.
Yeah,
They're going to need it to be.
Oh yeah.
A couple other players I want to just give an honorable mention to. Matoma. I had him as the starter at one point in my team, and then I decided I'd rather have Bowen in.
What a player.
One that might be on his way to Man United, Carlos Baliba. Another one who I think he's going to be a problem. I know they want $100 million for him already, which I think if
More than that, I think
it's which Brighton
The Brighton minimum.
Yeah, the Brighton minimum.
Man.
The fact that we got João Pedro, I think ended up being like 60. I can't believe it because I'm surprised they didn't want more for that guy. But,
Yeah.
And then up front, I had Ollie Watkins as the honorable mention as well.
Oh yeah. All right. That's
Also,
a solid 11.
One more. I just love these Crystal Palace players right now, but Adam Morton too could have easily been a player in this team. But
All right. What do we? I'll dive in. I'll do it. All right.
Did you cheat?
I didn't cheat. So I mean, at first we're talking about cheating. I did have maybe 4 Fulham players the first time I did this, and they were all Arsenal players. No, I'm kidding. But I did go with. I did keep Robinson in the back with my full my team here. like you're saying, just solid left back. I don't know how he managed to stay away from these top teams, but I also got Mark Gahey in my defense. Lewis Dunk is thrown in there, and a pick that people, I feel like he slander his name, but he held his own and he just was dragged through the mud, but he can still play as Wan Bissaka. Now,
Okay.
I always rated him, and when United got him, I was worried. I'm like, oh man, you got to watch out for this guy. And they just really didn't treat him right at that team. He's playing for West Ham still, I think.
Yep.
And, solid unit right there. In attack, in my midfield, I threw Grealish in there immediately. As soon as that transfer
wow.
was finished, I needed to get
Interesting.
Grealish on that left side. We got Gibbs White and Bruno Guimaraes as well. I kind of got Gibbs White out of position, but him as a pivot with Bruno, I feel like Bruno can sit back while Gibbs can get a little more of that free roam ability, either with the deep lying midfield or in attack. Then on the right side, we got Iwobi, who had just fantastic season last year, and hopefully he just keeps finding that form. And then my two strikers, I got Isak, of course, because he's still at Newcastle. He's not going, if he's there, he fits this qualification. And then playing right beside him is Beto. Interesting pick, but, I feel like with him at Everton, he's just a target man, fills that sort of like Lukaku role, like holding striker, sort of. I don't know. I just honestly needed to throw another name up there with him to support Isak in that striker role, and I think Beto can do it. So
Okay. All right.
picked him for my 11.
I will say I did have Iwobi in my team at about 3 different positions. I kept moving him around, and then eventually I was like, I can't fit him in. But he at one point he was playing left mid. At one point he was my cam. At one point he was one of my CDMs. And then eventually I'm like, he's not going to make it.
If we were
But
doing longest tenured Premier League players, I think he fits the mold, but I don't know about best 11.
Yeah, he's been playing for a bit. He got his rise around like 2017, 18, and then
been around for a
he's
while.
jumped around a little bit. Yeah, it was like to Everton, and then he's been at Fulham for now a little bit. But I was seeing like maybe him moving, but like he's comfortable at Fulham right now, so I can see him just like hanging out there and hopefully continues his stride.
Yeah.
What do you got, Brandon? What do you got for us here?
Well, I think it's the best 11. I think it's the only proper 11.
All right, okay.
So, at goalkeeper, I went with the risk taker himself, the England number 1. I went with Jordan Pickford.
Oh yeah.
I will say Emilio Martinez I had as an honorable mention. I almost went as my pick with Dean Henderson.
He's been-
Oh yeah.
I mean,
after last weekend too.
I was never a Palace fan. I'm not going to sit here and say like I know everything about him. I've been watching a lot of their preseason. I've been doing a lot of research and looking into the club. Dean Henderson stands on his head. That dude just pulls out some of the most miraculous saves I've ever seen. I think he has a shot as the England number 1 going into next season. I think he's on the squad regardless. But at the end of the day, I went with the current number 1, and I went with Jordan Pickford. My left back, same as you boys, Anthony Robinson.
I think honestly, he might be one of the most surefire picks.
A universal pick there, yeah.
I just don't think there's another left back that's even remotely rivals
I think in
him.
the American squad as well, I think he might be our best player.
Oh, yeah.
Best American player.
I would agree.
I think the numbers he puts up, the fact that he's right up there with some of the biggest names, it speaks volumes. My center back duo, I got Mark Gahey as well. Even if he changes clubs, goes elsewhere, I think that remains. Right next to him, I have Milenkovic from Nottingham Forest. Dude's Slovenian, Serbian, one of the two, but he's just 6'5", just pure muscle. I think he'll run you out of the gym. Instinctively, he's smart. And I think he's a very stout center back and is going to be for a while. Right back, a Fab Academy shout out, Matty Cash, Aston Villa. Had to do it. I don't need to explain. Matty
you go for it.
Matty
Go
Cash
for
is
it.
my
Hell
right
yeah.
back. Okay, my midfield 4 I think is the only midfield 4. I got Eze in there. I didn't really go position specific. I just have my midfield 4. I got Eze in there. I got Morgan Rogers from Villa. I got Morgan Gibbs White, and I have Bruno G from Newcastle. So similar. All the same reasons, honestly. I mean, those 4 names miles above the rest, I feel like. My 2 up top, I got Isak and I got Jared Bowen with Ollie Watkins as my honorable mention.
Nice. Yeah, man. The midfield conversation is serious there because, like, with Bruno, again, he's still at Newcastle, and that's a player that you would think would be moving on and has outgrown Newcastle, but he's comfortable there. He's comfortable in his position with the team, and he's always putting up great performances for him. He's one of those players that fits that like Norgard category. I feel like, where if he goes, then that's a huge piece that just disappears for him.
If we want to talk about the Newcastle midfield, though, really quickly, do we think Sandro Tonali is at that same level? Do you think he exceeds Bruno G?
I think just with him missing so much from the betting.
Yeah.
Scandal aside, you put them on the field at the same time right now, off the field issues aside, just on the field. Would you take Tonali or would you take Bruno G?
From an ability standpoint, I think it's close. I just think that Bruno G just slightly has him. Maybe just because we've seen more of him recently. Maybe it's a little recency bias, and maybe Tonali comes out this season and shows how good he can be. But I would pivot to Bruno G just ever so slightly at the moment.
Yeah, there's a difference with players in the midfield when they can have that impact quietly or when they're in the midfield quietly, but they're not making that impact, And I feel like I don't remember hearing too much from Tonali towards the end of last season and with the impact he was making in that team, whereas Bruno is that silent, just holding, player for him. And, he moves in what's the phrase? He moves in the, darkness kind of thing, or moves in the shadows. Like, you don't need to see him work, but, he's doing that work there for him.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I think I might go with Bruno in that kind of pick right now. Yeah. Those are our 11 right there, fellas. And in terms of the rest of our predictions and kind of things that are going on out there, any sort of last bit of news that you guys want to round up or think about that might be going on?
We want to talk about our first manager sacked.
Oh, yeah. We didn't talk about that either. My pick is also wild for that. I'll throw it out there just because. But if he loses Isak,
I almost did it.
Eddie Howe
is
going to be in the hottest hot seat you'll ever see in the next, because with them not being able to get those numbers out of Isak and just like how demoralized the squad could be after something like that, he needs to be able to say, no, hey guys, we can do this. Like, you have faith in me, have faith in this team. Like, someone might not have that faith, but we can still do it. And if he can't, you got to look at the new ownership right now. The new ownership came out and said some almost crazy stuff about Isak. They were trying to threaten and be like, oh, no, he's never going to leave. He's going to be with us forever, even if he's sitting on the bench. It's like, that's, drastic stuff. And so if they are going to be, reactory like that and like have those kind of things happening, Eddie Howe's got to watch his back.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't agree. I just think he's too good of a manager, and I think...
Oh, no, I definitely agree on that. Like, he's a great manager.
If he leaves, he goes somewhere quickly.
Yeah. I think it'll be like, if he gets sacked and there's a club that is thinking about sacking their coach and they feel like that they want Eddie Howe, they're not going to... Like, they're going to be on the phone with Eddie Howe right away, like, we'll sack our coach right now if you come to us.
Yeah.
And I think it'll... Obviously, it won't be that simple, but it'll be like, if he gets sacked, he'll have offers within a day or two.
Yeah.
Like, which... I don't know if Newcastle's going to be that drastic. I mean, I know the board's kind of a bit of a hot mess right now, and the club's just a bit of a hot mess in general. But I think he'll be okay, and I think I think they're going to struggle in Champions League this season. I don't think they're going to have a great Champions League campaign. I could see them getting out in the league phase this year. But I don't know if Eddie Howe is going to, if they're going to do that poor in the league where Eddie Howe's going to get sacked early.
Mm-hmm. So who fills that void then? Who is going to be?
I said his name earlier, and I just don't think he's going to survive. I think it's Daniel Farke. I just think he's not he's not suited to.
The lead slander is
like-
unbelievable.
I just don't think he's suited to being a Premier League manager. Like this guy is the relegation merchant. Like it's what he lives for. So I think he'll get. If Leeds survive, I think it'll be because they sacked him early enough to bring in a new coach to really change their season around. I just don't see him. I think they won't make that mistake to like they'll make a change before they realize the damage is done. I think that's my opinion on it. I think they're gonna try something, and if it's not him, it's gonna be Graham Potter. He has shown nothing at West Ham, and this is biased because he's the worst Chelsea coach I've ever seen with my own eyes.
Yeah.
Like he has shown absolutely nothing at West Ham. They didn't get better. If anything, they got worse when he was in charge.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be one of those two in my opinion. But
yeah.
No, I the Graham part, like, I almost entertained the thought, but I give him the benefit of the doubt kind of thing. You know, like he's on a team right now that he's at a team where sure, the pressure will be on for him to get those results and stuff, but it's not going to be as serious at a club like Chelsea. And like with the form that West Ham have been in the past couple of years, I feel like that fan base and that club would be happy just seeing them compete again for these, lower European spots. Like if they can find their way into that conference
But will
league,
they?
we'll see. I mean, like again, give him the benefit of the doubt right now with Graham Potter. He might be able to do something, but
Didn't you have West Ham as one of your relegated 3?
no.
Okay.
I was talking some slander about them last time we met up,
Okay. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
yeah, no. But who's your pick for manager?
Yeah, I
on the
mean,
way out?
we're going to have words outside about Leeds. Okay. I hope you know that. But I do agree. I got Graham Potter.
Really?
I got Graham Potter. out the door.
Really?
I think the improvement Brighton made the second he was gone, and just what I saw out of that Chelsea team, which was nothing. Our goal, we literally didn't post the goal of the month for a month because the only goal we scored the entire month was a penalty.
Mm-hmm.
Like that is how bad of levels we're talking with Graham Potter. And yeah, sure, this is a very passionate topic because I can't stand his coaching technique, but he has shown nothing of any sorts at the top level besides surviving with Brighton.
Yeah.
So I don't think this West Ham team is nearly as talented as that Brighton team was. So I can easily see him gone early.
Yeah. One of my favorite movies of all time is Green Street Hooligans. I don't know if you guys have seen the film.
Oh yeah.
But, give it to Hollywood. I don't care. I've seen some West Ham fans, and I just think they demand so much. I think I can't stand Paqueta, however you say his name. I don't care if I pronounce it right. I can't stand watching him play. I cannot stand the way he does everything on the ball, off the ball. It just irks me to no end. I think Jared Bowen, is a phenomenal player. I think he needs to get out. I think the chair is not only hot, but it's very much on fire. And like you said, recency. He hasn't shown much of anything at all. And I think you bring somebody like that into a club like West Ham that is just on the verge of collapse. I can see him getting the boot.
I can easily see West Ham being in the relegation zone early on in the season, and when after they sack him, climbing their way out.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking at their first 5 games here, and they're playing Sunderland away, Chelsea at home, Forest away, and then Spurs, Crystal Palace after that, Everton. Their start gives them enough room to find some strength and find some form against some teams. But we were talking up Sunderland. Big first test for them, If West Ham comes out the gate and they lose to a newly promoted team to like Sunderland, that's a matchup to watch. We just saw that in the Championship this past weekend, where you had Wrexham playing. Who was
what a
it? That just got Southampton.
Yeah.
And that was just fantastic to see happen. But
1-0 up in the 82nd minute, lost it 2-1.
Yeah. These tests where you're fighting the competition from these different leagues, it's just a great way to see the barometer of where that level is for some of them. And big first weekend here.
They did bring in that the outside back Diouf. I don't know if you guys seen anything on him. He's got a leg on him. That left boot. I think he gives Anthony Robinson a run for his money. Assist numbers from that left back position. I think he's a fantastic signing. But again, all in all, I just don't think they have what it takes. And with the fan base behind them, they're going to want more.
All right. Well, these are some solid predictions. We had a bunch of hot takes in here tonight, gentlemen. This weekend's the first weekend. And then, again, after that, we're meeting up for match week 2 for some of those live games. And then right after that, we'll meet up for a nice little rebuttal here. This is going to be a bi-weekly podcast, everybody. We're not going to be meeting up weekly just so that we can let the league breathe a little bit, let some of these games air out, some of the news in the league settle in between things, so that way we can touch base on some of this stuff and the movement in the bottom 14. Not bottom 14, but you know what I mean. This is our 14. Again, this is the 7-1 everyone but the top 6 podcast where we talk about everybody but the top 6. I've been Alec. This is Brandon and Zach. Ladies and gents, that's it tonight. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.